Do I need a lawyer if I'm injured on the job in Florida? Now that's an important question that many people look for the answer to. My name is Robert Gluck, and I'm a trial lawyer here in Florida, and I've been handling these types of cases for many years. Since 1989, I've had an office in Plantation, and more recently, I've opened an office in Naples, and I serve the entire state of Florida. Well, first of all, in Florida, if you're injured on the job, your employer is required to provide you certain benefits. First, they're required to pay your medical bills, and they're also required to pay your wages. The trade-off in a workers' comp system is this. You don't get money for your pain and suffering and for other what we call non-economic damages, but you automatically get all your bills paid no matter whose fault the accident is. In a regular lawsuit, in order to get money from someone, you have to prove that they did something wrong. In a workers' comp claim, you don't. You simply have to prove you got hurt on the job. So what are the areas that would require you to get a workers' comp lawyer? Well, the first is a denial of benefits. Sometimes the workers' comp carrier will deny your benefits. There are certain things you're required to do. For example, if your employer is notified that you're in an accident, they require you to go get a drug test within 24 hours. If you delay showing up to that clinic to get that test, they could deny your claim. If you're injured on the job and then you go home and you don't report it timely, they could deny your claim. If you have a heart attack on the job because of the stress from lifting something heavy, they could say that it's a degenerative or a pre-existing condition and they could deny your claim. So in those situations, you might need a lawyer. You might need to file an appeal if your claim was denied. They may not want to fully cover your injuries. They may try and argue that some of your injuries are not related. There could be a dispute over how much of the medical treatment they want to agree is work-related. One of the other things is you may not be getting the right medical care. You may need a lawyer to step in if you need a neurologist, but they're only letting you see a chiropractor. It's great that they're paying your medical bills, but if they're not letting you see the specialists that you need to see, then you need to get a lawyer to fight them to get the right treatment from the right providers. Returning to work is a big issue. Many times their doctors are going to be in a rush to say that you're okay and ready to go back to work. Sometimes you're not ready to go back to work. Sometimes you're only able to go back to work with restrictions. Sometimes you have permanent restrictions. Sometimes those restrictions might prevent you from being able to do that job. Then what needs to happen is a vocational rehabilitation assessment needs to be made to determine what other skills you have if you can't physically go back to doing that job. Your employer's insurance company may not want to pay for that evaluation. They may not want to pay for the cost of you to re-educate yourself to learn a new trade if, for example, a work-related injury is going to prevent you from being able to ever go back to doing a heavy labor-intensive job. How long will it take to retrain you to become an X-ray technician, for example? Well, you might be entitled to compensation for that period of time if it's a work-related injury that's preventing you from being able to go back to your old job. You might get terminated. A lot of times, as soon as you settle your workers' comp claim, the employer tries to fire you and use other reasons and excuses for doing so. If you have the right workers' comp lawyer, they could pursue a claim for wrongful termination if the truth is that the termination was because of an injury that you experienced on the job. There are also issues where if you are given restrictions, a lot of times the employer will say they don't have jobs with those restrictions, and if you can't do the things that are required of the job, they can't keep you there. You're also entitled to a certain amount of compensation if you have a total and permanent disability. So for all of these and many other reasons, you may need to get a workers' comp lawyer involved. And if you do, and if any of the things I've described sound familiar to you, then you might want to give me a call. I can handle cases throughout the state of Florida. If you see something you've liked here, click the like button below. Subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more. And most importantly, get a lawyer to protect your rights. Thank you, and have a great day.